Hi everyone, Tam's here. It's time for another Tea Chat Tuesday. And today we're going to be talking about pen pals. A couple of weeks ago, I posted the following photo on Instagram. And as you can imagine, I received a question that I often received, and that is, how do I find my pen pals? How do I get so many beautiful letters from people? Well, first of all, I want to point out that that photograph shows you letters that I have received over the past couple of years. It did not happen overnight. And I have been writing letters for a long time. I've always enjoyed sending mail. I've never really concerned myself with receiving mail until the last few years. I've always enjoyed sending parcels to family, and I've done it for a very long time. In fact, I have been attracted to desk and pens and paper and books for as long as I can remember. In fact, this desk behind me, I've mentioned it before. This was given to me from my parents for Christmas when I was 9 years old, and it came with a desk set. And I can remember sitting down and just wanting to send mail and letters to people, whoever would take them. So I have been doing this a while, but I'm happy to share with you what I have done to find pen pals over the years. And I will tell you the same story that I tell people when I give workshops about letter writing and to promote letter writing. I do a little bit more than the average person because I do volunteer at my local library almost every year. I have for the past couple of years, and I teach a little class that encourages letter writing. And usually when I do those types of workshops, those they have grown outside of my public library. I do get requests to do more and more of those each year. What happens is the people that attend those classes will often send me letters too after the class because they just want to send some mail, and it's usually just a one-time correspondence exchange. It's not a long-lasting pen pal. But here is my story and how I received my pen pals. I currently have about 12 regular pen pals. That does fluctuate because people come and go. Life happens to people. Some of the pen pals I had a couple of years ago, their life has changed. Maybe they've moved, maybe they've had a baby, maybe they've gotten married. Things change, and your interest or the time that you have to write letters changes, and that's normal. So, but right now I have about 12 regulars. And when I say regulars, we've exchanged more than one or two letters. And we've been exchanging for almost at least a year, those 12. And this is how I got started. About 4 years ago, I saw a challenge. It was a summer challenge, and I cannot remember exactly where I saw it, but it listed one of the things to do over the summer was to send just 5 random pieces of mail to anyone to let them know they weren't forgotten, that you were thinking of them. So I did that because I was a reason to send mail. Why not? And I did not expect to hear anything really from anyone. I just thought they would enjoy getting the card or letter that I sent. And surprisingly, I received a response from one of my aunts in Virginia, and it was written on beautiful stationery, beautiful penmanship, and she wrote back to me a really nice letter. And I thought, wow, maybe I'm not so crazy that I enjoy sending all this mail. Maybe there's other people out there. And I hadn't really thought about stranger pen pals since I was a little kid. I started to think about finding like minded people. And the first thing I did, because I was a little scared to reach out to people I didn't know, is I posted on my Facebook page that I was interested in exchanging mail over the summer. And if anyone was interested in exchanging with me, to let me know, and I would send them some mail. Well, I proceeded to send out 100 pieces of mail that summer, and I received about 40 pieces back. So keep in mind your return on investment is not always the best when you're sending mail. Just keep that in mind. You've got to really enjoy it. And the people that responded to me were people that I least expected, because I honestly expected a lot of people to make fun of me or give me a hard time and say things like pen pals. we haven't done that since we were children. What are you, a child? And blah, 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 blah. And actually, some of the most serious, busiest, most professional people in our family and friend circle showed interest and wanted to exchange mail over the summer, and I enjoyed it immensely. I did not want to continue to bombard family and friends that were just doing it short term for fun. So I did start at that time branching out and looking into pen pal groups and things like that. I first started with something called post crossing. It's a way to exchange postcards all over the world. It's very easy and simple, and I'll link it below. I exchanged about 100 postcards when I did that, and I had a great time because I love postage stamps, and I received so many beautiful postage stamps from all around the world. And I continued to look at different pen pal groups because at the time I was noticing that mail was starting to appear, beautiful pictures of mail were starting to appear on Instagram. And I found Letter Writers Alliance, and I highly recommend them. I received 2 pen pals when I joined Letter Writers Alliance, and they were fantastic. We had a great time. At the same time, I started noticing again on Instagram that more and more people were not only sharing pictures of mail, they were using certain hashtags like snail mail revolution, write more letters, Letter Writers Alliance, and it was a great way to find your tribe and to find other like-minded people. And we sort of got used to the same people back and forth that seemed to be interested in mail and that sort of thing. And the other thing that was happening is around that time, I know Letter Writers Alliance would do these virtual letter writing meetings. They would do these live videos on YouTube, and the idea was that we all watch and write our letters at the same time, and that was really cool. And you could get an idea of who else was in Letter Writers Alliance. I had someone on Instagram reach out to me and ask if we could exchange letters. She was in Letter Writers Alliance, and I said yes. And then after exchanging letters from her, I met another member of Letter Writers Alliance through her, and just so on and so on. I started to attend letter writing meetups at the stationery store that's in Tampa called the Paper Seahorse. They had just opened up, and the owner was also in Letter Writers Alliance, and I met some more people through there. That's really how it started. The majority of any new pen pals, I will tell you, have come from Instagram. It's typically someone that we see each other with the hashtags in the mail, and they reach out and they ask if they can exchange letters. Or there's someone that has been to one of my workshops. I've been fortunate to do a few workshops around the country, and they've been a lot of fun, and I've met other like-minded people. Now, a couple of things to remember if you choose to reach out to people on Instagram. There's a couple of unspoken rules that no one really ever talks about. But if someone reaches out to you and asks you to exchange letters, they are expected to send the first letter. If you reach out to someone and ask them to exchange letters, you are expected to send the first letter, because unfortunately, a lot of times what happens, because it's become sort of trendy to share mail, the hashtag show and mail, and there's beautiful, beautiful stuff out there. I love looking at it too. What happens, unfortunately, is a lot of people, they see that you can make beautiful mail or mail art, or you have beautiful handwriting, and they ask you to send them a letter because they want your beautiful mail and they want to take a picture of it. But there's absolutely no interest whatsoever in them wanting to correspond with you. And I actually enjoy the correspondence that goes. So I do list my P.O. box on my social media platforms, but I will tell you that if you do reach out to me and you want to exchange letters, I do expect you to send the first letter. And if you do send the first letter, I will respond. And if there are people out there that are expecting me to send my really, really nice mail full of goodies and things like that, that doesn't always happen because it can get expensive. And typically what I will do is I'll wait till I've corresponded with someone a couple of times before I start putting a lot of effort into the mail art and the goodies and things like that. And I don't send goodies every single time because there are some people out there that really just want to swap. There's no interest in writing the letters, and I'm more interested in reading the letters and writing the letters. And yes, it's fun to send the goodies, but it can get expensive. So I have to sort of limit that, if you will. But yeah, that is how I found my pen pals. I hope that is helpful. I would suggest, if you're brand new to this, I would suggest the how I started and just post on Facebook and see if there are any family and friends that you know that may be interested in exchanging mail, and see if you like it. Some people get tired of it. They think they'll like it. There's a romance about letters, and it's very romantic and it's beautiful and things like that. But you do have to be a bit disciplined. You have to sit down and take the time to write letters. And some people really aren't as interested in it as they think they might be. So a good way to get started is to start with family and friends and see how you like it. And then I would branch out. I recommend both post crossing if you're not really interested in writing a lot of information, but you want to venture outside of your circle. And I always recommend Letter Writers Alliance. I think they've been great to work with, and all the people I've met through Letter Writers Alliance are really, a lot of them are long term letter writers, and they do enjoy it quite a bit. So I hope that was helpful. My find for the week that I want to share with you, I think most of you that watch this channel, you probably like a lot of the same things that I do, and I love letters and parcels and journals and pens and books and gardens and analog and that sort of thing, and a little bit of OCD organization, if you haven't noticed. And this past weekend, I watched a wonderful movie that was recommended to me. Someone said, "You're going to like this. There's a lot of books and letters and things in there and gardens." And I had never heard of it. You may have heard of it, but I had never heard of it until now. But it's called This Beautiful Fantastic. And if you haven't seen it, you should at least watch the trailer. It's just a beautiful, simple movie. And I'll link something below so that you can watch the trailer and learn more about it. But it was just when you see that someone thought to write a movie like that and film a movie with those types of sets, it just makes you feel good to know there's other people out there that appreciate these simple things in life. And I really enjoyed it, and I thought I'd pass it on to you guys because I think that most of us like those sort of things. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I hope you're having a wonderful 4th of July if you're here in the States and you're spending some time with your family and friends. And I will see you next week. Please let me know if there's any other topics that you are really interested in hearing. And thanks for the feedback. Bye.